American Trigger Corporation AR Gold trigger and parts are designed to be installed and safety checked by an experienced professional gunsmith for use by competitors in sanctioned competition. We are going to demonstrate how to install your American Trigger AR Gold trigger into your AR and check the safety. This demonstration is directed to experienced professional gunsmiths who understand the workings of their AR rifle and know how to fully detail strip the lower receiver. If that's not you, we strongly suggest you retain the services of a competent professional gunsmith to install your trigger and perform the all-important safety checks. This trigger is designed to work with mil-spec receivers using .154 diameter hammer and trigger pins. If you have a Colt, you'll want to be sure to check it to see if it has the dreaded sear block. If it does, this trigger will not fit in the receiver. Okay, we're going to show you how to install your AR Gold trigger into your AR low receiver. Starting out, we've already removed the stock fire control parts and the safety. We also took the safety detent and detent spring out of the grip, which makes it easier to go through this process. This is pretty straightforward. Take your lower, drop your AR Gold trigger in. Before you put the pins in, put the safety in. Start it through. You're going to find that you've got to jiggle things around a little bit, and then you've got it all the way through. Once it's there, turn the gun over and put the pins in from the right side. Give them a press, and you're done. You have installed the trigger, and we are ready to do our function test. With the AR Gold trigger, the primary sear is located right here behind the hammer. When you're set to safe and you press the trigger, we must see no movement of the sear relative to the hammer. If there's a movement here when you press the trigger on safe, discontinue the installation. Likely the safety selector is way out of spec. Do not continue. When we go to fire, when we press the trigger now, the sear is going to release the hammer. You can see it moving back there. But when we're set to safe, no motion of the sear. We set to fire. If we keep the trigger pulled so you can see the sear is fully retracted and cock it, the sear has sprung back onto the hammer. Let the trigger out a little bit. That's the reset. It's about 40,000ths of an inch. I can press the trigger again and the hammer falls. Now we want to check the safety interceptor. With the gun cocked and set to fire, put your finger on the sear, pull it backwards to release the hammer. As you'll notice, the hammer did not fall. That's because the trigger was not depressed and the hammer caught on the safety sear. Now press the trigger. It'll have no take up now, but it will be a single stage trigger. Press it, hammer falls. Cock it. We've caught again on the primary sear, and we're back where we started. We've got the safety on. We press the trigger, no motion of the sear. Take the safety off, press the trigger, sear goes back, hammer falls. You're good to go. Warning. These safety checks must be successfully completed with the weapon unloaded and pointed in a safe direction. 1. With the hammer cocked and resting on the primary sear, located at the rear of the hammer, rotate the safety selector to safe. While observing the primary sear and hammer, pull the trigger. There must be no movement of the primary sear when the trigger is pulled. 2. With the hammer cocked and resting on the primary sear, located to the rear of the hammer, rotate the safety selector to fire. With your finger off of the trigger and the trigger in its forward position, pull the primary sear to the rear. The hammer should snap forward slightly and catch on the secondary safety sear. From there, pulling the trigger should release the hammer. If either safety check fails, do not use this trigger. Always obey Jeff Cooper's 4 rules of firearm safety. 1. Treat all guns as always loaded all the time. 2. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. 3. Keep your finger off of the trigger until your sights are on the target and you are ready to shoot. 4. Be sure of your target.